Good evening, everyone, or whatever time of day it is that you're watching this. This video is going to be a little less focused than some of my other videos. I am going to build a ship here to help people out that have never really built one from scratch before. I'm not going to say that it's a basic design because we're going to use some more advanced tools, but it's definitely going to be a smaller design. It's not a ship I've ever made before, so I will be kind of working through some of the issues that pop up while I make it on the video here, so you guys can see kind of some of the problems you might run into and some of the workarounds for them. So I'm just standing here in front of the new Red Light Industries ship shop. It's not entirely done yet, so don't judge yet. Anyways, and I'll hopefully remember while we're doing all of this to tell you what tools I'm using at the time. If I don't, forgive me. Feel free to ask in the comments and I'll answer your questions there. So to start, we're just going to deploy a dynamic core, an extra small. What we're actually going to do tonight, just because I usually like to make ships that are a little bit unconventional, is we're just going to make a ship that looks like a hot dog. Or at least that's the goal. Whether we can pull that off or not, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't actually done it before. So anyway, so we are going to use tool 5. And this lets me cycle through the cores that I have in my inventory. I'm going to place a dynamic core unit. I'm just holding R and rotating the mouse wheel right now to adjust the way it's facing. And now I'm holding T and moving the mouse wheel just to lift it off the ground a little bit. Name. We'll call it Hot Dog. And I'll deploy it for my industry, just because the industries can deploy a lot more cores than an individual player can, so we won't have any issues. So once you deploy a core, you're actually automatically put in build mode, which is not a big deal for the extra small cores like this, but if you place like something like a large core like that one, it's quite a ways off the ground and could be even higher. So if you end up on the ground, you might not be able to reach up to put yourself in build mode. So if you place a really large core, it does start you in build mode just like this, and make sure you put some voxels down from the core or something so you can work on it later. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do, and what I usually do to start my builds like this, is I just build a platform out the front here and move the core up there. I like having it still in the center so I know where the center of the grid is, but I need it kind of out of the way of where I'm going to be working. So the material that I'm using right here, and this is the material that we're going to use for the wiener of our hot dog, is matte dark beige plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'll actually I will put in the comment section or in the description for this video all the materials that we used in this build, so that if any of you want to try it at home, you're welcome to do so. So now that I moved the core forward, I'm just going to get rid of most of this long bar that I just made. So I'm using tool 7, which is just kind of a selection tool. I'm going to put it there, and I will put it here. So that's just 2 single clicks, and you can see it highlights all that area. And I'm just pushing the delete button on my keyboard to pick it back up. So one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Hovercraft seat for this build. So I want to see roughly how big it is before we place our wiener, because I want to make sure that it's big enough for this thing to actually sit in it. So I'm just going to place it there for a second and come back to the voxel tool. Switch over to cylinder, and now I'm holding control and mouse wheel up just to see how it'll look there. So does that look like it would sink in pretty decently? Is it too big? Yeah, probably that, eh? Okay, so I'm going to pick the hover seat back up, so I'm just back on tool 1 holding alt and clicking on it. So this these 4 voxels that I left here, these are the remnants of where the core was before I moved it, so I know that this is in the center horizontally and vertically. I'm going to build the wiener now, and I'm not too sure how long necessarily I want it. going to just do that there, and then come around to this side. Delete these 4 voxels. And build it out to, I don't know, about there. How's that? Okay, so right now we have a lovely cylinder, which, you know, a hot dog wiener is not exactly a perfect cylinder. That obviously is rounded at the end. So what I'm going to do is, without changing the size, I'm going to switch over to the sphere tool and just plop one of those bad boys on each end. Alright, so there we have it. Now that I see those ends, it makes me think that this should probably be a little bit bigger, or a little bit longer. So I'm just hitting backspace, and backspace again. And backspace is the undo button. So maybe we'll make it just a little bit more that way, and whatever, a little bit more that way. Back to the sphere tube, or the sphere tool, and throw that on each end. Boom. There we are. That's a hot dog wiener. I'm switching back to tool 1. This is where my hover seat goes. So it's not detecting over here if you see the hover seat controller is grayed out, and the reason for that is that when you pick up a hover seat controller that's been deployed already, it stores some data, some of the Lua scripting in it, and in order to deploy it again or have your the game recognize that it's just a generic Hovercraft seat controller, you need to go into your inventory, right click on it, and remove dynamic properties. And as you can see, it now shows up in the list again. So actually, you know what, we're not going to put this just right yet. Now, after I did all that. So now that we've got the wiener here kind of set up, I just want to move it out of the way so that we can work on the bun. So to do that, I'm on tool 7 again, the selector tool, and I'm just going to select, click here at one end, click here on the other end, one on top, one on the bottom. I'm just exiting build mode here for a second, lifting the whole thing up. It's having a hard time getting at the bottom. Okay, so 7 again, starting over, the bottom, back, front, top, side, side, and not quite the side. Side. Okay, so I've got it selected. As you can see, I've got a little box that covers the hot dog wiener entirely. So I'm going to just do what anyone would do in a spreadsheet and hit Control X to cut the wiener. So I'm just going to put it up here. It's red right now because it is outside of the zone. The front of it is poking out. So I'm just holding down T and mouse wheeling up just to get it kind of up and out of the way. So we'll place it up there. So I know that this core is still centered horizontally, but I know that it is 4 voxels higher than center because that's how big of a box that I built when I initially moved it. So this here will be center again, and we'll go to there, and then tool 7 again just to select the whole thing and delete. Okay, so we have our hot dog wiener up there looking pretty good, and so now we are going to make the bun. So for the bun I chose matte light beige plastic. It seemed the closest to baking that I could find. So I'm coming up here, I'm using the sphere tool again, and I want to make sure that we get a bun that seems, you know, big enough for it. That should probably do it, eh? Yeah, I think so. Alright, so we're going to come down here, not change the size, aim at the center of this, and we'll come out a ways that way. Go into tool 7 here again to delete this. And let's see, so I don't want the bun to be as long as the wiener itself. I want it to stick out the front and the back. I think it'll look kind of comical, which is what we're going for here. So how long is this? Actually, you know what? Let's just cut and paste this again and hold it over top of it so we can see how it's going to fit. I could have measured it ahead of time, but we are winging it tonight, people. There we go, and there. Alright, so Control X again to cut it. Does that... I feel like that might be sticking out just a little too much, eh? Oh no, maybe not. Tell you what, we'll put just a few. We'll put a few more voxels in. Just gonna move this up out of the way again. Hang out there. Okay, we'll put one more click in. Now, chances are good that you have probably eaten a hot dog before, so you know that the bun is not completely round, right? It has to sit on the baking pan, so it's for sure flat on the bottom, and then I would suggest the sides are pretty flat too. So we're on tool 7 right now. I'm just going to click there, there, and then on the front, and we'll delete that, so that smooths it off on that side. Click there, there, alright, and we've deleted it on that side now too. The bottom, I'm not entirely sure how much I want to take off. I'm going to put some hover engines on the bottom, and it will be easier if it's flatter. So let's see what this looks like. And I can always change it if I want. I think that looks pretty decent. Okay, so now we have to get the wiener into the bun. So I have a couple options, and like I said at the start of the video, you guys are going to be watching as I kind of work through some of these problems myself, because I don't really know. I haven't really obviously made this design before. Let's see how big was the cylinder again here. Click bigger. About yay big. Neither of those seem to match. Okay, so this is going to go in here. I wonder if I just cut out, well, we can try it. I'm going to just cut out here, so I'm holding Alt and clicking, and just holding onto it and dragging it all the way through. That looks not bad, eh? So this here looks a little sharp, right? But, you know, a regular bun would be cut down the center and then split, which I think is a little bit tougher to do. But let's try putting this in. So tool 7 again. It's kind of the magic tool I use it all the time. Select our hot dog wiener here again. By the way, if you guys have any other like kind of fun builds that you think I should try, leave a comment in the section below. Okay, so you notice that sometimes my cutout here gets red, right? So it wants you to deploy it on other voxels, which I'm going to do here. Oh, the game is even letting me just slide it right in there. Right now I'm just holding T and moving it back and forth to... Does that look equal? That does not look equal. Just putting backspace to change that. I think that it was sticking out one side more than the other, so... What's equal? Like that. It was sticking up out of the bun a little bit here, so I'm just pressing T and scrolling the mouse to be able to sink it back down. There we are. Yes. Now is that leaving too much bun here at the bottom? I'm just going to try deleting one more row at the bottom and see how that looks. It's been a while since I had a hot dog. Maybe I should have had one as research for this project. Nah. I think that'll be easier to work with anyway. Okay, so we have our hot dog here. I'm just trying to decide right now actually if I want to do a little bit of smoothing on the bun or not, because right now the sides are quite flat. I'm going to switch to the area smooth tool and just see what it looks like if I were to smooth it right now. I don't know. So I'm only selecting the area with the bun. Hopefully this doesn't affect the wiener too much. And let's just see how this looks. So that was a single application. So it's not doing much. So if I wanted to smooth this, I would probably have to build out some voxels. But I feel like that's probably a video for another day. That's a little bit more advanced smoothing techniques. We'll just leave it as this. This is really just more to cover how to build a basic ship, right? So if you get stranded somewhere, I don't think I'm using anything that... let's just take a look, actually. I don't think I'm using anything that requires any industry items. This is all stuff that you could make in your nanocrafter. And yeah, looks like it so far. Okay, so the next thing that's going to require actually still a little bit of artistry, I would say, is the cutting out for the hovercraft to fit. So do we want it completely centered, a little bit forward? I think we're going to have to put the fuel tank in the front of it, so let's try and put this bad boy kind of in the center of the hovercraft, or the center of the hot dog. That's roughly where it is. I just wanted to see actually how many voxels it took up. So it looks like I'm on tool 7 again, by the way. We'll go to there. There. Okay, let's do that. How does that work? I want it to be sunk in a little more, I think. You know, I picture driving this hot dog and sitting there with your arm up on the side of the bun, looking at all the peasants below as you go flying by. So let's take down another layer. I might even sit in this actually to see how it looks from the pilot seat. Does that fit? It does. Okay, let's exit build mode. Hop in here. And we sync, obviously. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm still not super happy with that bun. Even if I don't take the full voxel layer off at the bottom, I might angle it a little bit. It just seems like there's a lot of bun. Which is exactly what I thought I would be saying when I was playing Dual Universe. That looks like a lot of bun. Alright, let's let this back up. And back into build mode. Okay. So we have our seat. As I mentioned earlier, there's a few things that we're going to have to add, right? So one of those things is going to be a fuel tank. So where do we got one here? So I was considering just sliding it right into here, but I wonder if instead I'll put it here and then put a fuel filler. Or I could even have it protruding a little bit. Oh, that didn't protrude at all. Did that not place? It did not. Made this sound like it placed, but then it didn't. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, there we are. Why is it not showing up though when I do that? Who knows? If I put it right in the front of the wiener here, of the sausage, does that wreck the look too much? Does it start looking rude? That's not that bad. That gives me an easy way to fuel it too, instead of having to put a fuel filler there. Yeah, I think everyone will still recognize that as a hot dog. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. What else do we need to throw in here? I've got some extra small wings, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually going to let's trim the bun here first. I think I need to get rid of this row. I think maybe what made it look so bad before is that when I got rid of it the first time, Now it's super flat here, right? Which just doesn't look right. So I'm going to take out that and one more on the other side. And now we're going to add in some triangular voxels here. So that was E, by the way, to switch between them. And then I'm just holding R and rotating scrolling the mouse wheel there to, there we are, to change the way they're oriented. That looks better. Okay, that does look better. Now I'll put the wings on. I just didn't want to put them and then on and then end up changing the shape of it and having them look funny. So let's put one here, and we'll do it on the other side, and then I'll take a look at the engineer's report later on and decide whether we need to put in another one or not. So, okay, so actually I'll look at it right now. Our high altitude lift, 193 kilonewtons, and the mass of the ship is currently only 806 kilograms. So we might be able to fly with just these wings. We'll see once we start adding up engines. I was trying to decide if a small engine would fit on this, and now that it's out, I feel like it probably will not. Actually, that's not bad. What's better, that, or if we take a couple extra small ones and put them in the bun like this? Ooh, that's a tough call. You know what? I think I'm going to put the extra smalls in. It's not a very big ship, so I feel like we don't really need that much power. Plus, really, what are we designing this for, right? Just for some fun flying to the market. It doesn't have to be that fast. Still, we'll put a couple in. No one wants their road trip to take forever when they're just running errands. I see that's poking out on that side. I wonder if the other one's poking out and I just didn't notice it. It totally is. Alright, let's move it. Okay, so that's two. What does it say the theoretical max speed is? 452 kilometers an hour. That's not bad actually. Whatever. Let's put in two more. Will they fit here? Oh yeah, totally will. What's better than having a hot dog ship than a racing hot dog ship? Max speed 641. Alright, that's a little bit better. That'll get you to market. Alright, what else we gotta put on this thing? Some hover engines. So you'll notice when you go to put hover engines in that they want to attach to the side of the ship, and obviously we don't want hover engines coming out like that. Even these wings at the back are annoying me a little bit, but I don't really want to use ailerons. Well, other than I could, I suppose. I'll think about that while we're doing this. Anyways, I'm going to, so right now I want the hover engines to go flat. So I'm putting them against the front here so that I can see that they're flat. And now I'm holding T, and I'm bringing it underneath, and T locks it in place so that it won't continue to just snap to random surfaces. And I'll bring it up here, and we'll see if we can just put it. I like things to be symmetrical, so I'm going to put this, what is that, 2 full voxels back, and then I'll do the same thing in the other way. As Thanos would say, balanced, as all things should be. Okay, where's this one? Okay, I was scrolling the mouse wheel the wrong way. Here it is. Actually, let's try that again. Oh, I see. Okay. I was selecting the wrong surface, or the wrong facing, so when I was moving the mouse wheel thinking it was moving it up and down, it was actually moving it forward backwards, so. Happens to everybody. So there we are. 2 voxels. 2 voxels. Perfect. Alright, so we've got some hover engines. We've got some wings. We've got a hover controller. Should we put an aileron on? Get rid of those wings? It won't handle as well. see an extra small. How big is it? We could put it underneath. What do you think looks worse, having the aileron there or the wings? I think the wings kind of make it look cheesy, which is the goal. So, alright, we'll stick with wings. Alright, so now we need some adjusters. So, the adjusters, you may or may not know, depending on how much you've been playing the game, but they largely control the pitch, yaw, and roll of your hot dog, aka your ship. So, I'm going to put some on the top and bottom of the wings here for roll. With larger ships, adjuster placement can become really important. This size of ship, I don't think we're really going to notice that much, but we'll see. I'm going to put these just a little bit higher, which is really, I guess, more than anything. But these will control the yaw. I'm just going to move... I'm regretting putting these wings just right here, so... Didn't leave myself room for my adjusters. I'll have to do the same thing on the other side. If the ship was taller, vertically, I would put 2 adjusters on each side, but because it's so small, I figure one there should probably do good enough, but we'll see. We will see on hot dog flight test number 1. Where am I putting this here? So that's 1.5 voxels back on kind of the main line there. Thanks for tuning in, by the way, guys. And if you think this is interesting at all, make sure you let me know. Give me a like, that kind of thing, so that I make more of these. Looking at my YouTube analytics, shipbuilding is something that's quite often searched for, and this is my first shipbuilding video. So yeah, if it's successful, then I'll make more of them. It's kind of fun, especially if you guys were to help and submit a design idea. I think then we could have a lot of fun doing this. Okay, so one there, one there. That's where I put it on that side, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. And then we need some for pitch and yaw. So I don't put that there. I don't know if I really want one up here. How badly will that impact it? It could still pitch just using the ones on the bottom. The other option is that you can sync elements into voxels like that. The game would probably say that it's blocked a certain percentage and it would be less efficient, but then my design would be a little bit better. And this mission really is about the design, not about performance, so we'll put one there. And where's the reports on adjusters? Here we are. So it's not actually even giving me any errors on any of my adjusters, so it seems to be fine with that. Where did I place it again? Just so I can do the same thing on the bottom. I think it was right here, right after this, this kind of thicker line. Let's work on making it level again. Do we have anything else that's flat here that I could use as a flat surface? Okay, I'll just eyeball this in. Some surfaces the game really does not want to put flat on it. Takes a lot of fiddling around. That's not bad. Okay, so that was right on the line. So underneath here, I'm just going to, I'm not as concerned about how it looks, so underneath I'm just going to put it on the exterior. I don't think people are as likely to see that, are they? Time will tell, I guess. Alright, and we'll put one here again. This probably isn't an exact match to the location on the other side. I actually can't quite remember where I put it. Alright, so we sunk that, and if you're wondering how I'm sinking it, I think I mentioned it, but I'm just holding tool 2, and, or not tool 2, I'm holding T while I move the mouse wheel, and that moves it up and down. So I think the only things that we're missing now are some air brakes. I don't really want to put them on top again, wrecking the aesthetic of the thing, so I'm gonna flip these around, put them on the bottom. The thing about brakes in the game space and air brakes right now is that their location really doesn't matter that much. Is that going to give me an error of any sort? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever got a brakes error before, but let's take a look here. Okay, so yeah, so 3 brakes. It's not showing that any of them are blocked at all. So let's take a look at the engineering report here for a second. So our mass is 1.72 tons. It's a super light ship. What can we lift here? Low altitude lift, high altitude lift. Oh yeah, so we got way more than enough power to lift this tiny little thing. So how's it looking? Does it need landing gear? Probably not. Okay, so the only thing we need to do now is sink the core into the wiener so that it's out of sight, out of mind. So the core, if it's not placed kind of exactly level or how you want it, it will interfere with your ship. If I were to put it upside down, all of a sudden when I try and fly, the ship would literally flip right upside down because it would think that I'm upside down. Everything is relative to the core, so I'm just going to put it on there and then hold T. Does that look flat? That looks flat. And I know I have some empty space here behind the hovercraft seat, so we'll just sink that. Boom. There we go. So here we have a hot dog ship. Just need some fuel, which I think I have a bunch of. Fill this bad boy up. And get on top. And let's take her for a spin. Ooh, one thing I want to do first. I forgot. So right now, this hovercraft seat does default to hovercraft controls, but I would prefer to fly this like a plane. I want to see how high we can get it and whatnot. How does that look on the ground? It still looks good. Alright, so I'm just going to right click on the seat here, run default auto configure, and pilot flying construct. So that'll make it more like that'll make it fly like a plane instead of like hovercraft. And let's just test. Okay, so yaw is good. Pitch, roll is not that great. So the reason for that is the adjusters for that are controlling the roll are on the top and bottom of the wings, which are at the very back. So as I rotate on that axis, actually the reason it's not rolling very well is because I forgot to put them back on after I moved the wings. But anyways, if it is still rolling poorly afterwards, and it may not because it's such a small ship, but because these adjusters that control roll are so far back on the ship, it may actually apply some torque, like a twisting motion to the ship as I roll, like making the front or back end raise or lower and kind of interrupt with good flight. But that wasn't actually what was happening in this occasion. All right, let's try roll. Oh yeah, that's how a hot dog should maneuver. See how this looks. Give it some power. Oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. The flying hot dog. Perfect. Look at how it handles. Let's do some barrel rolls here. Awesome. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So you obviously don't have to go and make a hot dog ship yourself, but hopefully some of the techniques that I used here help you come up with a little bit more creative design using the cylinders and attaching the spheres to the end of them like I did. Hopefully this gives you guys just a better understanding of the shapes and how you can use them to make kind of more complicated designs. If you have any other questions, like I said, or if you have any suggestions for my next video or for another ship to make, then by all means leave them in the comments. Thanks very much for watching.